Welcome to another show. Today I'm talking about Jurassic World Trilogy. Not Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park, I like Jurassic Park Trilogy. The first three, Jurassic Park, Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, oops. You could give criticisms to some of the plotting. You could see there are some issues with the film, but they're generally enjoyable. I mean, I would happily rewatch them. I watch them every so often. They're fun. I mean, they are flawed, but they're fun. They brought Jurassic Park back like 10 years after the series had finished with Jurassic World. That was a massive hit. And then, like the Star Wars sequels from the 2010s, the interest started to wane after the first nostalgia burst. I mean, at least Star Wars actually had like Last Jedi, which, while divisive, is an interesting film. You either like it or you don't, but at least you're not going to have no opinion on it. And they had Rogue One, which is a terrific little, like, basically a heist movie trying to steal the Death Star plans. I mean, Star Wars, they've had some flaws, and the series goes up and down a lot, and the TV shows are now going up and down a lot. But there's still stuff to like there. It's not a total disaster. Jurassic World, though, kind of is. I mean, basically, my title for this one is what would happen if some movies were written in Crayon. That's what these films feel like. And it all started because the first one made a lot of money despite being awful. I mean, Jurassic World was basically like they took the idea of Jurassic Park and did a kind of quasi-remake. Now, in Jurassic Park, the book, they had the park much more set up before you got there. So it's a much bigger book than the film ultimately ended up being. So when I heard they were going back to that kind of element and doing kind of bits of the book that weren't in the film, I thought, oh, that's cool. I'd like to see that. Then I saw the film. The film's terrible. I mean, it's like, I think because the idea was so good there, like, when the park actually opened and then it all went wrong, it's so solid an idea that it was like, it carried a lot of stupidity. It really carried so much that I've done a whole video on this about how stupid this film is. Like, it was one of my first videos I did. So I would recommend going back to that. I'll try and find the link for it and put it below. But it was I went through the whole thing of how terrible and stupid it was. You get to see me with lots and lots of hair. But it was a really bad film. I mean, it literally was stuff like, that's from Predator 2, that's from this film, that's from that film. It had no momentum, it just, things happened. And people were getting killed for no reason, and people were acting stupidly. And they were replaying bits from Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, even though they were trying to move on from that. And it was like, and you'd central characters who were played by decent actors who were not given much to do. And you had a general feeling of this was like a kind of mediocre reboot that people had fallen for, out of nostalgia. They just wanted to see dinosaurs attacking humans and eating humans, and they wasn't wanted to return to Jurassic Park basically and have another Jurassic Park movie. That's all they really wanted. There wasn't like the things that annoyed me, the stupid stuff about like making the dinosaurs like weapons and stuff, all that stupid stuff. No one else cared about it. It was like, yeah, that's stupid, but who cares? I mean, no one really cared about that stuff. I mean, no one looked at it and was, hey, that bit's from Aliens. That bit's from this, that bit's from that. No one cared because they just wanted to see dinosaurs. I was like, okay, I didn't like that film, but a lot of people did. A lot of people had fun with it. Fine, I'll move on. Then they made a sequel because it made so much money, and it was like, oh god, they're doing a sequel. So they the same writers involved, but they had a different director. And A.J. Bayona, I think he did a lot of stuff with Del Toro. But Colin Tim, or whatever we call him, was still the writer, and he directed the first one. He went off to do Star Wars and was let go. So ended up coming back to Jurassic World eventually. But he wrote this one after just having done the Book of Henry, which was a massive disaster. But he wrote the script, and that was the biggest problem with this film, was the script. The actual Fallen Kingdom film was really stupid. But it was stupid, but directed by someone who knew what they were doing. The problem with the first film was it was directed by someone who shot everything like a TV movie. Like there was no visual distinction like at all in that film. It was nothing. It was just like map shots out here or there. How do they connect to other stuff? What do you mean connect? Things just happen. It's like that's a movie. Things just happen. It's like why? How do you connect the stuff together? Things just happen. It's like you don't need style. You don't need to line up shots to have like a foreground and background and have suspense and stuff. You just shoot everything and have the CGI Wonder Woman. That's how that first movie was shot. It was terribly shot. It had the least stylized stuff ever in a film. That's probably been brutal, but that's what it felt like. It was like, how is anyone seen this when I was watching the film? Has anyone seen how short this film shot? This is like, did no one step in and say, like, are you going to shoot this properly? In the sequel, they had a good director with a shoddy script. And they did the dumbest start-off point, the idea of, oh yeah, there's a volcano on the island and it's going to go off and they're going to have to, how are we going to do with the dinosaurs? It's like, well, move it to the other island. There's another island that we spent 2 films on. You just move them there. And they somehow forgot the other island in the films, even though it was established. So it was like, okay, what? But all those dinosaurs were already on that other island anyway, so you just move the other ones to that island. Wait, how hard is that? No, we're not going to do that. That was really stupid. So we did that bit, but the idea of there being a problem with the island having to move dinosaurs could have been good if you put to an actual problem, like an earthquake or something, that would have been much more interesting than just volcano. Why do you build a park on a volcanic island? It just instantly seems stupid. So they did this second one, and the idea of getting them off the island could have been good as a suspense movie, and you could have done a whole movie about that. Just getting from one island to the other. Because moving dinosaurs and things going wrong when you're moving the dinosaurs is a good idea. It got 10 minutes in the film. Like, so they spent most of the film, most of the first half of the film, doing all these stunts with the actors on the island, on the volcano going off. And they were all unrealistic because that person was dead. There's no way that person survived that. So that distance you from it, no matter how much the director tried to make it work, and he shot it so much better than the Jurassic World. It was so much better shot in every way. But he was trying to deal with really shoddy writing and really ill thought out writing that basically didn't care about logic in any way. And you had some really terrible. I mean, the characters in the Jurassic World weren't that good. The characters in this one had a few returning characters. The central character returned. Every other character in this one was absolutely awful. They were just like painfully bad to watch. So you had that problem. People talking, like, oh, shut up, please, just don't talk. Just don't. It's painful. The terrible dialogue scenes throughout it. But you had a decent director trying his best to keep it going. Then you get the second half of the movie, but they end up in this old house. They're selling the dinosaurs. Instead of taking the island, they're taking them to the mainland and selling the dinosaurs to other people. And it's like, wouldn't anyone actually just investigate this and say, what the hell happened? Wouldn't there be police here if you're moving all these dinosaurs? Wouldn't there be, like, international law in effect instantly? You couldn't just do that. It's impossible. It's like, it's really stupid. No, we're going to do it, and we're going to have an auction scene where it all goes wrong and all these rich people are eaten by the dinosaurs. And now the dinosaurs are on land. And that's the end of the film. But we have a couple of suspense sequences in this big old dark house with dinosaurs eating people. And it's like, that's kind of boring. There's nothing really there. I mean, again, it's shot really nicely. Because they had someone competent. That's why, even though it's the dumbest of the... maybe not the dumbest of the three, but it's really dumb. It's still, for me, easily the best of the three. Because at least they're the person behind the camera who could point the camera at something and make it look good. Usually what they were doing weren't worth a damn. But at least it looked like it was shot by someone who knew what they were doing. Because he did. But he should have turned it down because the script was so awful. But he took the job. And he has... I don't think he's worked since. Because it was... it had a big opening and a big drop off as everyone wanted to get around it. Like, this is not good. This is stupid. I had a hoot watching it. Like, the first one, Jurassic World, which, oh god, this is so stupid, this is insulting. This one is like, okay, this is insulting, stupid, let's laugh at it. So I had a hoot with this film. I did not take it seriously at all. So that's probably why I say it's the best of the three. Because at least it's well shot and I am laughing at it. And it had so much stupid stuff. And it ignored the best, basically the best potential part of it, like 10 minutes. And the bit you wanted to have 10 minutes got an hour. And it was just so stupid. So then we get to the third one, which really feels as written in Crayon, because the third one's the worst of the three. And it's the dumbest of the three. And it's hard to say what's dumber, but this one I think is dumbest of the three. But it's also really weird. So you get little moments of, oh, that's quite interesting, and then they forget about it. Or not that it's interesting, that's really stupid, but fascinatingly weird. But it's also back to Colin Tamarov, or what you call him, as director. And he has not learned a thing. The film still feels like it's shot like it's... Let's just chuck stuff at the screen. What's foreground? What's background? We'll move the camera a lot. But we won't have foreground and background. We'll just have stuff happening. We'll move it so fast that no one knows. So there's a sequence early on where they're chasing through an Italian town. Or a small city. Going through it with dinosaurs attacking people and things. They move it really fast, but it feels like a Mission Impossible or a Bourne movie sequence with dinosaurs. But you've seen it before. And since this was produced by the guys who did the Bourne series, they probably hired the same people to do it. So it looks exactly like a Bourne film with dinosaurs, but with nothing really interesting. So in this one, you have Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard back for the third time, and they look bored as hell. And you've got the little girl from the second one who was in it, who's a clone. We found it in the second one. I avoid talking about that thing at all because it's so dull. The second one, it's so stupid, it takes up so much time, you're like, oh, shoot me now. But it's still the best part of the film. Even though it's really dumb, but at least it was weird. And it really was dull. It was just like, it was pepped up every so often. Like, is something going to happen in this second film that with something? It's weird. No, nothing really happened. Third one, nothing really happens either. The third one is so disjointed. It's like it's a globe-trotting adventure because the first one was set on an island. Second one was set in 2 locations. And this time they go globe-trotting for some reason. And they ignore the implications of the second end and second. In the second one, the dinosaurs are loose on the mainland. Like, okay, that's interesting for setup for third film. You get 10 minutes of that. And then you get at the end as well. It's like, yeah, they're still on the mainland. And then you get into another adventure, this other location, the hidden location. And instead of it being about dinosaurs, it's about locusts who are eating the food supply of the world. They've been genetically manipulated so that only one company has their food stocks safe, which is the company of the villain. It's like, well, no one really noticed he's behind it. I mean, the whole thing's about investigation into something that should be obvious to any law enforcement instantly. You know, it's like, there's something up here. I've noticed with doing, we'll just phone the media and they'll say something about it. It's like, it's so easy to solve. Instead, you have to have the characters from the original Jurassic Park trilogy, Malcolm, Grant, and Sattler, all those actors coming back, probably for big paychecks to be in this film and to pretty much save the film as much as they can. Because even though they have nothing to do, they're grumpy older people who are in this stupid film, and especially Sam Neill really plays up the grumpiness, and he's always fun to watch. But, I mean, they've nothing to do. But, hey, at least when they're on screen, you're interested. Everyone else, no. You have whole sequences where they're getting chased and almost eaten, and you don't care. And they're going from place to place. They've kidnapped the little girl from the second one, taken to this location, and they have to go and find her, and they have to go and track down where she went, which takes them directly then to this place in the mountains, where there's a charitable location to help dinosaurs live in this one location to save them from humanity, which turns out to be a trap, and I'm already bored. Because all it means is, it means you can drop characters into this location with dinosaurs and have the dinosaurs in the jungle sequences again from the original films and these sequels, and you've seen it a million times and you're bored. And what's even worse, there's no motivation for any of it. They crash, one character ejects into the jungle, then they crash, they're trying to find the little girl, but they go back to find their pal. But if they just all stayed in the plane, they wouldn't have had that problem. So you have a half hour of the film that's just filler, and you have all these dinosaur sequences that are trying to feed dinosaurs, and it's all filler. There's no motivation for the film there because it's like, just stay in the plane. And it's like, you just don't have anything to do for these characters to do. And the whole second half of the film's like that. Why do you do this? Well, we need to extend the running time. Why? Dinosaurs things happen? The whole film's like that. It's like, people do things, Sam Neill and Lord Dunn wander around the catacombs for a while, find out stuff, and wander some more. Get chased by dinosaurs, wander some more, run into the new characters with new films. Everyone gets chased by dinosaurs, and they end up coming back to the main frame of the thing. That makes this sound more coherent than it actually is. It just feels like people wandering. And people, they run into each other for no reason other than the plot needs it. People run into each other all the time for no logical, motivated reason. It's just like, let's type those characters to get together so we can get to the end. That's it. That's the whole thing. Campbell Scott turns up as a villain, and he's a good actor who's given nothing to do. He's trying his best. And there's nothing distinctive. Every so often you get an effect shot that looks nice of the trees on fire and stuff. And it's like, well, that's the effects stuff. Because it doesn't feel linked to other stuff that's been shot in the film. It just feels like there's this bit here and that bit there and that bit there. And they're all happening. And there's just a bunch of scenes put together and they're played together on a track of scenes of shot. And they put a score in. And that's the film. And what's the motivation between them all? They're trying to rescue a little girl and save the world from some vague locust threat. And here's the funny thing. The locust threat feels very much like Exorcist 2. One of the most notoriously hated films in film history. They steal from Exorcist 2. There's a whole locust plot, and they need this girl, someone in the girl, that can protect the world from this locust thing, this locust threat that signifies evil and despair, and a girl can save the world from it through something inside her. It's the same as Exorcist 2, but done boringly. There's another subplot where the girl actually is basically her mother been reborn because her mother carried her to term. And it's like, okay, can we get into more detail with how that actually happened with her father? It kind of feels weird. We need more details here. Nothing. And then it's dropped. But still, the woman managed to, as well as doing that, she managed to put stuff into her that would protect her from all diseases, which solved the problem of the locust. For some reason. Like how humans and locusts genetics tie together, I have no idea. Exodus 2 made more sense because they dealt with it supernaturally. This doesn't make any sense. But it's weird. So that's why I say watch this film when drunk, because at least you might have some fun with it. I mean, I've seen Godzilla movies make more sense than this one. It resembles Godzilla movies in a sense of you've got a lot of actors saying gibberish dialogue. But at least Godzilla movies have Godzilla and a lot of attacks. This one has scenes you've seen before. They get everyone together for the ending so you can have another T-Rex fight. Why is there a T-Rex fight? Because it's a T-Rex fight, it's a Jurassic Park movie. A Jurassic World movie. You need a T-Rex fight at the end. There's no real reason for it. It just happens. They have a fire to motivate the dinosaurs to come together. But that's the only reason is to have this T-Rex fight. There's no actual logical reason beyond that. They set the fire to have a T-Rex fight. So it can fight this other monster who we've just been introduced to, and we're told it's really scary, and you know T-Rex is going to kick his ass. That's it. It's so they can have a dinosaur fight at the end. The whole second half of this film is just vaguely motivated things happening. There's no intercutting that actually adds tension, takes away tension. I mean, you're just basically waiting for the actors from the original trilogy to come together and actually have some funny lines. Because they're the only ones with character in this thing. It's just a boring mess. Otherwise, it's just that these people wander around. And all the suspense sequences are boring because they'll never put any character in danger that could die. They put characters who have been in the last two films, so you know they're not going to die. They don't have other supporting characters who could die. Most of them are gone pretty quick. So they don't bring in characters who could die. So there's no suspense. Because you know they're not going to kill any of the original characters or any new characters from this new trilogy. They're just going to have things happening. I mean, look at even the first two films had characters you thought, oh, they're going to die probably. That's fun. This one, there's no one who could die apart from the lead villain. And it just leads to a lot of suspense scenes where, you know, I'm not motivated to care because they're not going to die. So it's really tedious and it's really slow. And again, it feels as written in Crayon because this is a trilogy of unmotivated sequences put together. It's like, I've got the big idea, and that's as far as we need to go. Got a little Crayon drawing, that's a big idea. They go there. What happens in there? They run around a lot and CGI, and they'll throw CGI at it, and we'll have the actors say bland dialogue, but we'll write it in Crayon because you don't need to go into detail with anything. Throw CGI at it. That's these films. These films are terrible. These films are really bad. They're worth seeing for how lazy filmmaking can be. Frankly, I'd rather watch Meteor or Raise the Titanic from what I did videos on before. At least they've got a charm of trashiness. These ones are just boring. And it's just like insulting how badly written they are. How they don't connect up in any way. There's lots of stuff in them that don't connect up. And it's like, you don't even have the ability to actually see that you've just been blatantly lazy. It's like, why was the producers not saying, like, this has to be better? Like, this has to lock up with stuff. Like, because everything's brought up, then abandoned. They bring up a character, set them up, then the character's abandoned. So by the time you get to the second act of the film, you're like, why should I care? Because you've just abandoned this character earlier on, and this other character. So you just build these characters up for 10 minutes and either kill them or abandon that storyline. And it happens again and again. And then there's other scenes that just float against each other and don't do much. This film is so boring, I actually went for 2 pee breaks in the cinema because I was so bored. I thought, I need to walk. I don't care. I just need to walk. I need to get out here for 2 minutes to let my brain... I didn't even need to go. I just wanted to get out for 2 minutes. That's how boring this film was. So this is a yeah. This trilogy is a perfect example of bad filmmaking, really bad filmmaking. But it's interesting to see how terrible it is. I mean, I'm fascinated by how bad these films are, and it's really sad because it's like they're just lazy. They're just lazy filmmaking. But I like dinosaurs because I'm a big kid at heart. But this is bad. This is really bad. So hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you avoid the films.